So can you see my screen? Yep. I said, can you see my screen?
I can see it.
Okay. So we are moving to chapter 4. Then from chapter 4, we can quickly take chapter 5. God will help us. Then, if possibly, we can also take chapter 6. So let's start from chapter 4 and 5. Let's quickly do chapter 4 and 5. Chapter 4 and 5 is all about communication within an organization, which is formal or communication. Are we together? We'll be looking at the formal communication, that is the communication that exists between people within an organization. Then like yesterday also, uh I I cited an example, that is the communication process between a boss and the subordinate will be different from the communication that will take place between uh husband and wife, or children to their parents. You know, the communication between boss and the subordinate will be formal. Yes or no? Why the one with why the one that will take place between husband and wife, or between between parents and the children, will be informal. So today we are moving to the formal system of communication. Now, formal system of communication in the organization setting are the types of communication which pass through the official channel in the organization. It takes the official channel. And what are the official channel? It could be in form of memo. Are we together? In form of emails, but it is what? It is formal. That is, it is between the boss, a boss and its what? And the subordinates. Are we together? Now, in this case, the flow of communication is backed by some degree of authority. That is, it has some degree of authority as this what? Backup. There is authority between the boss, from the boss to the subordinate. Are we together? So under the formal communication, we have some other types of formal communication. One is, we have the vertical communication. So vertical communication is the communication that takes place between within an organization based on hierarchy. Based on what? Hierarchy, that is from the top to the what? To the bottom, which is from the boss to the who? To the subordinate. Are you getting it? Now, vertical communication refers to the principal channel for routing directive and policy from the top decision makers, those are the management team, through the organization structure to the people who are at various levels. will be required to what? To implement them. Are you getting it? Now, all forms of ideas, suggestions, criticisms, and queries that originate from superior levels in the organization may be referred to as vertical communication. That is, anyone that span from the top management to the to people who are below is being referred to as what? Vertical. So now this vertical can now be divided into two. We have the downward communication and we have the upward communication. That one is just from the superior to the what? To the subordinate. Are we together? That is, communication that flows from superior to their subordinate is referred to as downward communication. Are we together? Are we together?
I'm with you.
Okay. So now we have two types of communication, vertical communication here. We have the downward communication and we have the upward communication. So what do we mean by downward communication? Is the communication flows from superior to their what? To their subordinate. This one moves from people at the top to people that are down, that are below. Are we getting it? Are we getting it? Are we getting it? So now communication that flows from superior to their subordinate is referred to as downward communication. Now, the downward flow of communication is the most important, is the most common in an organization. It may take the following. What are the following it will take? Downward communication, upward communication. Are we together? Are we together? Hello? Are you there?
I'm with you.
So, okay. Now, what are the examples of downward communication, flow of communication we have? Please, I'm coming. What are the example? We have job instructions. When we receive job instruction from our superior, that's example of downward communication. That is, this is coming from the superior then uh to the to the subordinate. Now, the downward flow of communication is the most common in organization. That is, let's take for instance where you are working. You know, when you are being assigned a task, it is coming from where? From your superior. Are we together? Now let's take the job instruction for the first one. Now, job instructions, these are directives These are directives about what to do and how to do it. They are directives on what you need to do and how you can accomplish it. Then another thing is procedure and practice. There are information about rules, regulation, policies and benefits. For example, don't argue with unhappy customers. If you can't handle them yourself, call the manager. So now this an example of what downward. Here there is what an instruction. So another thing is point out problem that needs attention. Now when you are to point out problem that needs attention, then you when your boss is now um guiding you through, giving you some instructions, then that is downward communication. Then upward is just the opposite. Are we together? Are we together? Oh, now another thing is point out problems that needs attention. We are able to point out problems that needs what attention. Hello. So point out problems that needs what that needs attention. E.g., manager raising an issue about the non-performance of an employer, about the non-performance of a particular accounting software in the organization database or other. So downward communication is just from the superior to people who are below. Are we together? Hello. So now point out problem that needs what attention when e.g. a manager raising an issue about non-performance of a particular software, accounting software in the organization database. You know that one, when the manager is now is saying something about the non-performance of a particular accounting software, then that's part of what downward communication. Like this, it is from the top to people who are below. Now feedback. The manager can also provide information about how effective database is performing. Sometimes a manager can. Are we together? Are we together? Are we together?
I'm with you.
So feedback. The manager can also provide information about how effective a subordinate is performing. So let's assume the manager needs information about the performance of uh an employee, you know, in such instance, there is what? There is the kind of conversation in such instance will be what? Will be high based on the form the downward what? The downward system. Are we together? So now let's look at the upward. Information flowing from subordinate to the superior is being seen as upward was flow of communication, which may lead which may take the following form. Now, information of the subordinate about himself, his performance, his proteins and givers. That's one of the type of um are you there? So now let's write down. So upward communication, that's the information flow from the subordinate to the what? To the people at the top. Now, to the organization, upward communication is as important as downward communication. Let's assume you want to pass some information to your boss. That's upward. That is because you you are the subordinate. Are we together? So what are the information required here? Now, information of the subordinate about himself, his performance, his problem and grievance. So that's one of the upward communication. Then another one is information about the subordinate and their problem. When the subordinate is given the employer are we together? So now, information of the subordinate about himself, his performance, his problems and grievance. Relating this to the what? To the superior, to the boss, is an example of upward communication. Information about subordinate and their problems. When the when it is now the subordinate that is relating the problem the uh, to people at the top. That's an uh, example of upward communication. Are we together? Upward vertical communication. Now let's quickly look at now what are the example relating to upward communication. Now, you giving information about subordinate, about himself performance, his problem and grievance. That's um one of the this thing relating to upward communication. Example of instances we have in the upward communication. Now, information about other subordinates and their problems is part of upward communication system. Then also suggestion about what needs to be done and how it could be done is part of what? Is part of upward communication. Are we together? Now, the five we have here, they are examples on communication. Are we together? So let's quickly look at horizontal communication. What do we mean by horizontal communication? Horizontal communication is also called lateral communication and is the communication which occurs between people who operate at the similar or same level. That is, this one take place between people at the same level, between colleagues at the same level in the what? In the organization. Are we together? Now, communication between and among members of the workforce whom in the same department. Hello. So now, communication between now horizontal communication is also called lateral communication. They might ask you, make sure you note it here. They can tell you that, are we together? Now, horizontal communication with the groups at the similar level. Perhaps groups communication. Are we together? Are we together?
I'm with you.
Okay. Now, they are less affected or inhibited because are we together? So now let's look at the instances on horizontal communication system. One, take coordination in a in a situation where offers on the same level can come together to enjoy. Now um taking coordination officers officers at the same level together. Now, e.g., timetable of production or shift strategies. That's one of the example of uh, horizontal. Then another one is, are we together? Now another one is problem solving. That is the ability of employer. Are we together? Praise. Are we together? Are we together? So sharing information that will enhance employees' performance. That one will be shared between among colleagues within an organization because they are of the same rank. Problem solving, that is the ability of the organization members to agree things up so as to get problems solved with minimal effort. Now, are we together? Now, let's quickly look at the one to quickly. Then we also have, before then, Sharing information that will enhance employee performance, that's one of the example. Conflict resolution is part of it. Building rapport among employees, that's one of the example of formal communication, upward formal communication. So now, despite the importance of oral communication, horizontal communication system, several forces work to discourage communication between peers. This can be taken this should be taken care of. So now, from there, we look at the diagonal communication system. Diagonal, are we together? So now, let's quickly look at all this. Now, despite the importance of good horizontal communication system, several forces work to discourage communication between or among peers. The following should be taken note of. One is rivalry. People who feel threatened by one another are not likely to be cooperative. So when there's rivalry between people in the organization, then what will happen? Uh, Communication will not flow. Then another thing is information overload. So all this communication of overload, information overload, then motivation. Lack of motivation may prevent co-workers from being effective and communication process. Are we together? So now let's quickly run through the diagonal system. The diagonal system of communication is a communication that combines both horizontal and the vertical system together. Are we together? So linking individuals or members of an organization who are originally not within the same lines within a day. Are we together? So it is not the combination, it's like you are combining the vertical system of communication um with the virtual communication. Are we together? So that's diagonal. Once you remember, um now let's continue. Then informal communication, this is the communication between, is the casual or unofficial form of communication wherein information is exchanged spontaneously. So information is being gathered at the same time. Are we together? Are we together? Are we together? Now, informal types of informal communication. You know, when if you are to define informal communication, that's the kind of information that is not what formal. That is, they are not formal. So we have types of informal communication. We have single strand China chain. We have group chain, possibility chain. Then we have cluster chain. So Are we together? Are we together? So now let's quickly look at the next thing. Types of communication work network. We have four types of communication network. One is single strand China. That's one of the example of informal communication. Are we together? Are we together? We can also see this as a threat to communication.
báwo ni?
Dáadáa.
Ti máa bọ̀ mí ọ̀ká.
Are you there? Hello? 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 Hello?
I'm here.
Okay, good. So I want to confirm if we are together. So where are we? So let's quickly look at the forms of the types of informal communication system we have. We have single strand chain. That is, this is the communication within yourself. Are we together? Now let's see how it works. Now single strand network. Now under this communication pattern, information flows from one person to the next person in the network. We have information between people within a group. Now, such as one person will give information to another person who will communicate to the next person like that, and similarly to the person that will also communicate the passage to the next person in the what in the network. Now, then six types of communication we have. This type of communication chain is reliable and accurate to pass pass on the message. So the single strand network is just between people within is between people between what a network. As one is receiving, that person is what is also relating what he or she has received to the next person. Are we together? Now we also have gossip chain network. That is, this one of the informal what informal communication system. In the gossip chain network, there is an individual who tells the message to all other members in the what in the network directly. Now here, under the under this one, um information is being passed between people in the what in the network. Now, so in I'm coming. It is generally the central person who seeks out and transmits the information that has been obtained. Here, every other person in the network communicates with the others informally. Now, this normally is often used when the subject matter is unrelated to the nature of the job. Here, you want to pass an information that is not related to what to your role, sha. So now, if you want the information to get to the person, then you have to move from anywhere you are and reach out. So now under the gossip, information is from one person which moves around. Are we together? So we also have probability change. This one, you select on what you want to what present. Are we together? Now, it is a random process in which information may move from one person to any other person or persons according to law of probability. That is, it is something based on sampling. Are we together? You select based on sampling. You select according to sample. You just pick a sample. Now the information flow is based on sampling. Now, naturally, in this type of communication, some people within the organization will be informed, while others will remain outside the arena of the words communication. Here, because of the random, it is not everybody that will get the information. Information flows to different people choosing randomly. Now, the source of information for each member of the network is different. Now, here under this one, different people get what? Different people get the chain to their communication. That is, they are able to get feedback. We also have cluster chain. Cluster chain is the most used and dominant pattern of grapevine. In this type, one person tells something to the selected trustworthy person. Now, some of these person may inform a few selected others. Here is the picture. It's A tells some A tells some elected and trustworthy person of BCD. Then B again rely on this on his person. So are we together? So now, we have some channels being used when it comes to informal communication. One is personal conversation and gossip. That's one of the channel to be used under the oral communication. Are we together? So personal conversation and gossip is part of this. Unofficial discussion is part of the area. Are we together? Hello. Now let's quickly look at
I'm
the
with you.
importance of informal communication. What what are the benefits we enjoy when we use informal communication? Informal communication is an indispensable part of the entire communication system. Formal communication is comparable to the arteries of a living being, whereas the grapevine and informal communication is like the vein. Now, the latter is a supplement to the former. That is, the informal assist the what? The former. Now, in an organization, some group of people work together. It is quite natural that they will become interested in one another and want to know various information regarding another service condition, salary, anything relating to someone's job. Now 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 in an organization, small group of people work together. It is quite natural that they will become interested in one another and want to know various information regarding one another service condition, e.g. salary and others. Then the third one is that they will also be interested in knowing any private, secret or confidential information, which includes romantic affairs, family disputes. um so that's about that. On Are we together? Now, another thing is that there will be another importance of informal communication is that they will be they will also be interested Are we together? Now, another one here is that they will also be interested in knowing any church and much. Are we together? I'm coming you. So now when it comes to uh importance of informal communication, employees generally exchange their views with their peers openly during lunch break and or at interval and get emotional relief from monotony and stress at work. When it comes to informal communication, that is, people are able to what? Exchange information between themselves. Are we together? There is that rapport. Then there are no official procedure or formalities when it comes to um informal communication. Now, let's quickly look at the characteristics of informal communication. One is that it is based on informal relationships. That is, it is it is based on um it is based on informal relation. That is, the relationship that exists, they are not what? Formal. It grows spontaneously. That is, this information grows easily. Now, it takes the form of gossip. The informal the informal the informal communication takes the form of gossip. That is you talking about something. Now, it is conveyed through conservation, facial expression, body movements, silence, and so on. We are able uh to deliver based on how it is being what. Now, informal communication does not need any structure, route, or channel. When it comes to informal communication, there is no need of you don't need any this thing. You don't need uh too much route before oral communication before informal communication what take place. It is direct and fast. Informal communication is what? Direct and fast. Now, let me take for instance the communication between husband and wife. You know that one. Can you just now, looking at that one, the communication between husband and wife, one will be much faster. That one will be more faster compared to the one that will be between boss. Are we together? Now, another thing is that it is flexible and dynamic in nature. Yeah, informal communication is what? Flexible and dynamic. It is very, very what? Flexible. You can easily change it. Change. when it comes to informal communication. You don't need to wait for anybody. Now, advantages is that informal communication, being unofficial and personal, encourages a feeling of togetherness. There is a feeling of togetherness when it comes to informal communication. The flow of information is fast and is suitable for emergency. That is, when it comes to formal communication, there is always what? It is very, very fast. New ideas, suggestions, opinion may come out through such communication, as people can express their what? Feelings without fear. You are able to express your feelings without fear when it comes to informal communication. New ideas, suggestion, opinion may come out through communication. Are we together? It can create an atmosphere congenial for work, as the relationship between the managers and the employee improves. Here, under the atmosphere, under the informal communication, you're able to have a good environment. Are we together? Are we together?
Yes.
Now, communication regarding reactions of the workers, attitude of the employees of other department, the intention of peer officer is done through what? Informal communication. Are we together? Now, it is an outlet of expression of complaint, dislikes, and grievance. So you can only get all this when it comes to informal communication. That is, it is an outlet whereby there is what? There is expression of complaints, dislikes, and grievance. Now, the channel of misunderstanding between management and employee news. Are we together? Are we together?
I'm here.
Good. Now, the chances of misunderstanding between management and employee when it comes to informal become less, as employee can speak openly because of the free atmosphere. Now, when it comes to informal, you are able to express yourself. Are we together? So now another thing is that, are we there? Hello? Any question before we move on? Hello?
No question.
So now let's quickly run through the disadvantages of um informal communication, or limitations to informal communication. One is that it is inadequate, incomplete, and half-true information are spread through informal communication, as everybody interprets it in his or her own way. Now, when it comes to informal communication, that is, it is very, very incomplete information can what? Can generate. Let's take for instance, we have 10 people then you now pass an instruction. It is possible for before the information that information will get to the last person, that that kind of information will not be what will not be a full one. Are we together? There will be some changes in the what in the sentence being in the command being passed across. Are we together? Now another thing is that in most cases it is emotional and full of sentiment, which can change the meaning of the information being conveyed. When it comes to informal communication, that is emotional and full of sentiment can change what the meaning attributable to the message being sent. Now no one can be held responsible, as it is not possible to find out the source of the wrong or half true information in some cases. Now for you to know where the information a particular information is being generated from, then it will take a longer period. Are we together? So you are not able to find that to find the source where a particular information is being generated from, and sometimes you can also what find. Now the fourth one is that it is not reliable. So communication is not what reliable. Another one is that, are we together? Now it is not reliable. Informal communication is not reliable. It spreads rumor and may endanger consolidation and unity of the organization. When it comes to informal communication, it can what it spreads rumor. Informal communication can lead to rumor and then may destroy the unity within an organization. It creates conflict between groups by spreading rumor against them and reducing their mental health in strength. Now when it comes to informal, it can lead to rumor, which will reduce which can lead to what conflict. It is possible to what to have conflict when it comes to informal communication. Yes or no? Then another thing is that I've said it can create conflict between groups by spreading among themselves. Are we together? Now what are the differences between formal and informal communication? Now in terms of accountability, there is no accountability during the flow of information in informal communication. There is no what? There is no limit to communication skill when it comes to. Now accountability is not sure. The next one is channel. The channels used in informal communication include the unofficial decisions. Now are we together? When it comes to informal communication, you don't need much ceremony, because it is what it is one on one. You can easily get your feedback when it comes to informal communication. Now another one is organizational consequences. There's organizational consequences when it comes to um when it comes to formal communication. Now, flow of information spreads at a faster rate in some case of informal communication. Are we together? Now, another one is that flow of information. When it comes to informal communication, you don't need any flow, but under the formal, there is always what? There is always a pattern to the flow of what? To the flow of information. Are we together? Information spreads at a faster rate in case of informal communication than what? Than formal. You can easily get information when it comes to informal, but formal, you have to follow a particular trend. Now, structure, there's always structure when it comes to formal, whereas in an informal, you don't need what? Any structure. Now, another one is that when it comes to now also the nature of communication is also there under the um under the are we together? Then control is part of the what? Differences between informal and formal. Then perceived position is also there. Are we together? Now, keeping a check on formal communication is easy, whereas informal communication cannot be what? Cannot be controlled. There is always a control on formal communication compared to what? Compared to informal. Another one is that are we together? So let's quickly run through the differences, then we call it a day. Then another one is the nature. The nature is different. We have nature. Under the nature, we have different nature. Then now we also have friendly or rigid. When it comes to formal, formal is always rigid. You have to follow uh you have to follow procedure. But when it comes to informal communication is always friendly. Then formal communication is unofficial. Formal communication is official, whereby informal one is unofficial. Then the rate of spread is there, secrecy is there, classifying the types, reliability. Formal communication is very reliable because anything can anything can change with what? With informal communication. Are we together? Are we together? Understanding also is there. That is command- then also process time. conflict resolution. Resolution. During informal communication, the chance of conflict resolution is high. If you can easily resolve conflict when it comes to informal compared to um compared to a formal system. Are we together? Understandability is also there. You can easily understand an informal communication compared to what? Uh compared to the formal one. Do you have any question? Any question?
No question.
So in the absence of none, tomorrow uh we'll be having a basic accounting tomorrow. Are we together? So Saturday we will try our best to Saturday we will try Saturday or Sunday. Okay, communication skill. Let's make Sunday our next class for communication skill. So Saturday also, when the timetable is out, you will know how everything will go between basic accounting class and communication skill class. So the time will be communicated to you soon. So any question? So see you tomorrow. We'll continue our basic accounting class tomorrow. Thank you for joining.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.